Today is January 1st. Happy New Year. And I have a quote for you which is appropriate for today, because today we always think about how we're going to make this new year better, and we make resolutions and determination. Okay, I'm not going to eat potato chips. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to quit this. I'm going to start that. Whatever it may be. That's a tradition, at least in America, and I think many places around the world. So here's a quote that should help us in understanding this mentality of making resolution and how actually to do it, or why we don't do it. You are the way you are because that's the way you want to be. If you really wanted to be any different, you would be in the process of changing right now. So that sounds kind of harsh and unsympathetic, and how do you know how I am, and how do you know what the challenges are, and so forth? I don't. But one thing I think is very important for us to understand: if we really want to change and we really don't want to be where we're at, we would be changing it. And so to say I am where I am because I want to be, even though it seems like I don't want to be, the message is that, well, why are you allowing yourself to be if you really don't want to be? Okay, I know in my head I don't want to be. But the fact that I don't do enough to change ultimately must mean that I don't care enough to change to want to be different. I'm okay. And even if I say I'm not okay, there's a part of me that is saying you are okay because you're not doing enough to change that. And because you're not doing enough to change that must mean ultimately you're okay with it. So where does the impetus to change come from? If you look at your life, you will see when you hit a point in your life when you're just saying, I can't take this anymore. I don't want this to happen. I don't want to live like this. That's when you change. When you say, I'm okay with this, it's not great, but I can deal with it. I can tolerate it. It's going to be harder to change it than it is to tolerate it. That means I'm accepting, even though I don't like it, but I'm accepting it because either I'm lazy or it's just too much work to change, or I don't think I can actually change it, so I'll be okay with where I'm at. So that's why I say, if wherever we're at, we think we don't really want to be there, actually we're okay with it, otherwise we would change it. And when we come to that point where we say, I can't deal with this anymore, I want to change it, then we actually make decisions to change it. We do things to change it. For example, in our forgiveness workshop, I try to bring devotees to the point where they say, I don't want to hold on to this. It's a burden, it's painful, it's toxic, it's hurting me, it's hurting my spiritual life. I want devotees to get to this point through the various exercises we put them through, to just let it go. Just let it go. And when we do these exercises, a lot of times that's what happens. Devotees realize how painful it is, and they just say, I don't want this anymore. And that decision is major, because a lot of times changes just happen by decisions. But it takes us coming to the point where we can't tolerate being a certain way, and then we finally change. So if I can tolerate being a certain way, if it's okay, if I'm okay with okay, I don't change. But if I'm not okay with okay, and I'm only okay with good, then until it's good, I won't be okay with it, and I'll work to make it good. So that's the idea. So ask yourself, am I okay with okay? Because if you are, don't make a resolution to change, because deep down, you're okay with okay. It's going to be hard to change. If you make a resolution, ask yourself, am I not okay with this? Because if you're really not okay with this, if it's really important to change, you will change. You will, definitely. So then the next question comes, well, what if I'm okay with okay, but I don't want to be okay with okay? Then you have to have reasons not to be okay with okay. And then you will no longer be okay with okay, because you have enough reasons not to be okay with okay. But if you don't have enough reasons not to be okay with okay, you'll be okay with okay, and then there's no impetus to change. You might want to play that again if that was confusing. But I think you understand. So don't be okay with okay. Be okay with excellent. And then you will strive to be excellent.